Taoiseach, a new international team of researchers has just established that 2023 was the hottest year that ever recorded, and critically that land-based carbon absorption has collapsed completely, going way beyond the worst case scenarios of previous research. So the forests and lakes, soils and so on that are supposed to be absorbing carbon are not doing it anymore. Such is the level of deforestation, the poor quality of certain type of forestry, wildfires and so on. So this research is terrifying because it means all the models are out the window and the scenario is far worse and is going to accelerate. Now what's left when the land is not absorbing carbon is the ocean, because I think it's about 60%, 50 to 60% of oxygen is produced by the ocean and carbon absorption by the ocean forests and plankton. Now, if we've already destroyed to a huge degree the ability of the land to absorb carbon, we better not do the same to the sea. But the way in which development is being planned of our marine environment could do to the sea what we've already done to the land. So I am asking the government once again to not allow industrialisation, even in the name of climate change, of sensitive marine environments which could destroy the ability of particularly sandbanks around the country, which are rich in plankton and absorb carbon. Do not destroy them with industrialisation until they've been properly assessed as to whether they should be protected environments.
To colleagues, to Deputy O'Murricu, I'll certainly seek excuse me, an update in relation to our ongoing engagement regarding the case of Private Sean Rooney. And I know it's a case that we take obviously a very active interest in, and continue to keep in close contact with the UN and the Lebanese government in relation to that. I take the point you make, and you've made it before in this House, in relation to support schemes for renewable heat and the need for them to be more innovative or agile in terms of responding to issues for people, and I'll certainly bring that to the attention of the Minister. And similarly, I think it's a fair point that if a county council is overperforming or has a capacity to do more in the retrofitting system and lots of stock that needs it, we should be looking to reward those moving faster rather than have people move at the pace of the slowest. I think that's fair, and I'll come back to you in relation to that. To Deputy Whitmore, when you were raising those issues, I thought you were gearing up to raise the Glen of the Downs, which I know is something we're going to work on together. Pardon me? I'll answer that as well, because I know you gave me a petition in relation to this yesterday from many of our constituents, and I know it's a very important issue. I want to acknowledge your good work on it and the meeting we had with the Delgany Community Council, and I will work with you and the National Parks and Wildlife Service to see if we can make progress on that issue, because whilst it's a local Wicklow issue, I know it's also a climate issue and an important community amenity that we'd like to see utilised for that. But look, the broader point you made and other colleagues made in relation to where we're at, and I think you're right to say setting targets is the easy bit, delivering the targets is harder, but that is a statement of fact, and you're also right to say it was important to set the targets and to put those targets in law. We now need to really put our shoulder to the wheel collectively to make sure we don't end up paying fines, that we actually achieve the targets. And the government is committed to addressing greenhouse gas emissions here in Ireland. That's why we did pass one of the most ambitious climate laws in the world, and it's why we're trying to mobilise the public and private sectors to deliver climate emissions. We did say, as Deputy Barry predicted, I may say, but we did see in 2023 a decrease of 6.8% in Ireland's greenhouse gas emissions compared to 2022, which had also seen a 1.9% reduction in the previous year. Encouragingly, we've seen decreases in emissions across key sectors: electricity 21.6, industry 5.8, agriculture 4.6, residential 7.1, with overall emissions falling below the 1990 baseline for the first time in 3 decades, and at a time when our economy grew by around 5%, which does point to decoupling between economic growth and emissions. I say that fully accepting that we're going to have to do more, fully accepting that we'll have to raise the scale of the ambition. But I also say it because we can't get fatalistic when it comes to climate change too. We do need people, businesses, all sectors of our economy to buy into the national effort and indeed the international effort. And this is proof that we can make progress. Recent modelling calculations from UCC's Marai Institute show that we're currently on track to successfully stay within our first carbon budget if we achieve an annual 8% reduction in 24 and 25. And look, there's other encouraging signs around public transport usage, nitrogen fertiliser use falling as well, and our retrofitting numbers up 80% in 1 year. But there is more to do, and that is why we have established this fund in relation to having a fund for climate adaptation and putting billions of euro into it each year that will be available to the next government in terms of that uplift in the scale of ambition and action that is going to be required. What I'd say in the brief time I have available to Deputy Boyd Barrett, I do take the point about needing to get these offshore developments right. And I would argue, though, that there's a very comprehensive process already in place in terms of the mapping exercise, in terms of the planning process. We do also need to get on and develop them and build them at some point too. I think that's important. Deputy Murphy, I'll certainly look at your bill, which has been published, which I've yet to read. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. Did I answer your question, Deputy Barry? I think I did. Our report card, was it? Well, look, I suppose I've outlined the progress that I think we've made on climate, but accepting that there's a lot more that we need to do in the time ahead.